Good evening, YouTubers. This is Jessie here, sharing the first ever episode of Novel Ideas with Jessie, where in each episode I will share a review of a book that I have read, and I will be sharing my thoughts and opinions with you guys. Now, the novel I have selected to discuss today is a book practically everyone has heard of, even if they haven't even read it. Maybe you've seen the movie, maybe you've heard your friends talk about it, but literally millions of reviews already exist for this book. So I bet it brings to mind, why review this book again if everybody's already reviewed it? And it comes down to one simple thing. This is my first episode of book reviews, and it's a beginning. This book was a beginning for me as a young child. I did reading for school, we did the accelerator reader programs, but the first ever book that actually captured my imagination and made me want to read, that became my passion, was Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, which led to a whole life of becoming a bookworm. This book is probably better known overseas as Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, but people over here, over the pond, I guess, it's Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. This book was originally published in 1997, and everyone knows the author, J.K. Rowling. The edition I'm showing right here was printed only a few years ago, and the illustrations are done by Jim Kay. And this is the illustrated edition of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. I actually bought this copy so I could read it to my son, and he's right around the age I was when I first started reading Harry Potter, so I'm carrying on the tradition. But the original artist of the Harry Potter novel, which, the book art on the first edition and the art inside of the book was actually done by Mary Grand Prix, and I apologize if I'm not pronouncing that correctly, but I just read it as I see it. And she did the original cover art, and out of all of the cover arts that have been done for Harry Potter, I mean, because they've been reprinted so many times, there's so many editions in other countries, I still love the first one so much because, just being able to unfold the book cover and seeing a whole scene come to life, and I really found it fascinating because you had this world of a little boy riding on a broomstick and all these, like, magic happening around him and magical creatures, but at the same time, Mary had the forethought to dress him in what would be normal clothes for the 90s, because in J.K. Rowling's world, of Harry Potter, this was set back in 1991, so he was wearing, like, modern clothes for that time, but set in a world of fantasy. So I always found that enrapturing, but I really do love the work Jim Kay has done in this novel as well. Okay, first off, the reason why this is one of my favorite books of all times, it's because it was a world of fantasy. Something about it just pulled me in when I was, like, first starting middle school and I picked these books up. It's something about a kid, I don't know, that really calls out to me that he was a boy who had lost his family and was taken in by another family who didn't treat him very well. And instead of it letting him be bitter, he found the good things in his life, and he made him a better person. He wasn't mean. I mean, one of the bullies of the books was Draco Malfoy, who literally got everything he wanted in life, just like Dudley did. If he wanted something, it was bought. He got the highest quality. He got everything he ever wanted. And here on, but it didn't make him a good person. But on the other side of it here, you have Ron Weasley, who has loving, caring family, but not much money, just like Harry, who didn't have much of a family or money, and yet they are two of the best people in the novels because money wasn't everything to them. They made their own family. So that's one of the reasons I really enjoyed this novel, because on a personal note, it really connected to me as a kid. I've heard the question asked many times, like, in the Harry Potter universe, who was your favorite character? Well, starting out in the first Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, if I had to pick one character who was my favorite, it's gonna sound cliche, but it was actually Harry. Because overall, he was a good guy. I mean, he came from a world where he was bullied by his cousins and his cousins' friends, to immediately, soon as he makes a friend, to stand up for that friend, even though he's outnumbered. So, Harry is a fighter, and I really enjoy him because he does try his best. Um, if I had to pick a least favorite character, it would actually be an entire family. I do not like the Dursleys. I mean, I know I could have picked the Malfoy family, even though we've only met Draco in this book, but the Dursleys are by far the worst kind of family. It's not something you really take into thought when you're a kid, but as you get to be an adult, I mean, the level of abuse that Harry put up with and had to deal with his entire life. I mean, could you imagine growing up as a toddler and a small child in a family where you know you're not wanted or you're ignored? I mean, with any child that could have turned him into a sociopath, but I know it's a children's novel, so I'm not going to go into a rant, but yeah, I just really despise the Dursley family because they are the epitome of I hate and want to destroy what I don't understand. So yeah, I just don't like them. uh this book series has always invoked strong emotions for me. It at the age I am now, and it's been 19, 20 years for me since this book series, I first found it, and as soon as I pick it up, just like this one here, especially with the pictures, it just takes me back to that world of magic again, automatically. And I think any book that can have that effect over the reader, it's timeless. The original book, not this one here, but the original novel that I got when I was a kid, the runtime for that was around 320 pages. And except for a few chapter books, at the age I was and my attention span, because I'm ADHD, my concentration is limited at best, but for 320 pages at the time, that was a lot for me. But I didn't find it too strenuous on my brain as I was reading it. So, it did good, and I like the fact that J.K. Rowling, through the novel, she didn't stick to a normal page range. She didn't say, okay, 320 for this one, 345 for that one, 319 for the next one. But she didn't also jump from like, okay, this has 320, now we're going to go to 700. She gradually increased the pages as we grew up with it, like as our concentration increased and we became more mature. And I always appreciated that because reading her novels really helped expand my concentration as well as my vocabulary and patience with reading. So I will always thank J.K. Rowling for that. I never did find it too long. I always kind of wish sometimes it would go longer, but the novels always did wrap up very well, I thought, and I was glad there wasn't really any cliffhangers. I don't think my young little mind could have handled that at the moment. But and at the time that I had read these, there wasn't really a novel I could compare. I think at the time I'd started reading Harry Potter, I was reading mostly mystery novels and historical novels, so this was the first of its kind that set me on a long path to reading in the fantasy world. So, um, hmm. So, at the end of each one of these episodes, I'm going to give my review, and my rating of the book I have read. So, um, take your time with me here. This is my first episode. I know there's been a lot of pauses and likes and uhs, and this is my first one ever, so be patient with me. But my rating for the Harry Potter, out of a scale of 1 to 5, I would give it a 6. I'm joking. It would have to be well, no, it's a 6. Even from a scale to 1 to 5, Harry Potter is a 6. It goes above and beyond because honestly, we have novels from centuries back. Jane Austen being one of my favorite now as well. Charles Dickens, Charlotte Bronte. All of these are authors that we have remembered from 200 years ago. I honestly believe Harry Potter is going to be one of those series that's going to last into the generations. I believe it will become a classic one day. I know that sounds crazy, like, oh yeah, Harry Potter lasting for centuries, but it sounds strange, but I actually believe it. I mean, it has managed to carry on through the generations. I mean, a lot of us, we bought the books, we bought the merchandise, we lined up to see the movies, and then we got older, and now we show the movies to our kids, and they want to read the books, and it I think it's timeless. It's a family thing now, so. Uh, this is my review for Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. As I've said, I give it a solid 6 out of 5. And I recommend that if you haven't read it, give it a try. Um, pick up pick it up from your local library. Any library carries it. If you don't want to invest the kind of money into owning the series, always go to the library and check it out. Try it on audio. There's Kindle Unlimited. I believe they're sharing it for free right now. And there's always Audible. You can listen to it in the car, on the go, or while you're working out. But always try to give it a go. And while I do love the movies aren't exactly on par with the books. There's a lot of things that had to be left out, but even if you've only seen the movie and you like the movie, give the book a shot. It's only about 300 pages. Most people can take care of that in a day, some in less than a week, but it's always worth the effort. So, until I see you again, my YouTube readers, I am signing off to go and do some more reading. Good night.